The difference between us is that I can feel pain.
Sounds like a real boogeyman. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy.
There's someone else in the hotel with us. There's a crazy woman in one of the rooms.
It's got a death curse.
This isn't science. It's more like black magic.
Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper.
Hello, my Night Owl friends, and welcome to a very special edition of Pumpkin Hill Radio. I'm your host, Travis Wormwood, and my lovely co-host, Dawson Trailer, right alongside me as always.
What up?
It's going to be a great one today. Every week on Pumpkin Hill Radio, we cover esoteric topics, paranormal mysteries, high strangeness of the highest caliber. We find the weirdest stuff from around, and we try to dissect it, try to learn it together, and we usually lean into the more magical side of things. So if you're looking for someone to say yes to something,
we are believers.
We're believers, but we scrutinize ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a skeptic.
This ain't the know nothing show.
But I want to believe.
Yes, full Mulder style.
Full Mulder.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Cult of the Star Mother. You are joining the cult just by listening. You're signing an audio contract. Yes. You can join further levels of the cult by checking on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/Pumpkin Hill Radio. A lot of great stuff. This month we had our bonus episode. It's actually free to all listeners if you just go sign up on our Patreon. It's kind of a part 2 to last week's episode, so make sure to check that out. Saw some new people checking it out, so glad to have you over there. Tell your friends about us and rate us. That really helps. And I guess send any stories you got, anything you need from us to pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. And you can check the website, pumpkinhillradio.com. You can find all of our links to everything there. Follow us on all the socials. And what else we got, Dawes? I guess we're gonna jump right into horror this week. I don't want to dally too much on top.
What do you got this horror?
The last few episodes have been
not this
way heavy on the top stuff. Horror this week. I have some stuff written down, but just off the top, very personal stuff. I had like a crazy panic attack. I told you. Not like an anxiety attack, not a panic attack. Maybe there's a slight difference there.
Whatever.
I was at the mall. I was at the Apple store in the mall.
Little psychotic break happened.
Yeah, we were just like waiting, and it wasn't even that long. It was probably like 7 minutes into sitting there. Maybe even
the mall
less.
will get you, man.
And I don't know.
Mall
I
madness,
could feel something like coming on to me, and I was like, I leaned over to my wife, and I was like, this is horrible. And then I was like, I just gotta go to the bathroom. So I walked to the bathroom. I was like, totally just feeling heavy and like totally like, I don't know what I would have done. It's not like I was like gonna throw up or anything. It wasn't like that, but I was just like totally like feeling a heaviness. And
serious case of the mall madness.
Yeah, mall madness. And so I went into
the
bathroom, and I was at the urinal pissing.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to get the
Let's
piss
clear
out.
that up right away. It wasn't a number 2, okay?
Yeah, pissing in the urinal. Not pooping.
Yeah. And I was in the corner, and like it's like kind of cement walls. And we are on video, so if you want to watch me. I'm moving my hands around a lot for this.
You're
story.
in the cell.
I'm looking at the corner, and it's all cement. And like for 1 second, I have this psychotic break, and I'm like, this is my cell. I'm like just in some kind of like loony bin, basically.
I'm in the psych ward.
Yeah, I'm like,
what is it? What's that movie?
Leonardo
DiCaprio.
Shutter Island.
Yeah, real Shutter Island moment.
I'm in a bit of a Shutter Island. I definitely. I like fully. I don't know. I don't want to say fully believed, because I think I was still hanging on to like a bit of like.
You knew you were in reality, but there's that. But
I was like totally
sliver.
breaking through. I was like when I turn around, it's gonna be like a 4x6 cement cell, and I'm just like pissing on the wall.
You're gonna like walk out, and like a guard's gonna like
put
the
this has all been a dream.
You.
I'm not married. I'm not. The podcast isn't real. Nothing's
You're just in like a psychosis to cope
catatonic
with
state for
being in a fucking mental prison.
like whatever.
It might have just been a metaphor of the prison state we live in.
Yeah.
That not to get too weird.
No, I mean,
that's freaky though.
I think that might have been part
there's been vibes though, man. There's been some weird vibes out
the prison
this week.
Yeah,
freaky weird shit.
Yeah,
I've been feeling it heavy.
That was the first time I've had an actual. I don't even want to say it was an actual attack. It was just like I could feel it coming on so strong. I got my wits about me after pissing. And
you gotta ground yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
like, I'm here with my wife. Things are good.
Yeah,
I'm chilling.
I got back to her, and she had like already completed the task. So we just like walked the mall. Hey, here's horror this week. The mall, there was no Hot Topic and no Spencer's. I literally felt.
What even is that then? That's not a mall.
I was like just I don't know.
Shopping center or something.
I can hear. I can't even speak. It was
weird,
so. Man. It wasn't my mall, I'll tell you that.
I saw a Hot Topic on the 16th Street Mall. I went and got my haircut.
I mean,
I walked by one and I was like, nice.
They're out there. I just felt so underrepresented. I went there to get plugs because I'm at like a half inch on my ears, and I was like, I just wanted to get some new plugs, and they just didn't have them. And
I need to get a new septum.
I don't know what to do.
I've been thinking about that lately. This is the original one I've had, and it's been like over a year.
Yeah, I have the full circular septum because when my a lot about my wife up top here. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, shouts out Maya, dude.
Yeah. Shouts out Maya. It's
the wife of the cast.
When we were kissing one time, our nose rings that were like that horseshoe, they like got caught, and it, like we pulled back, and it was like, ooh.
You got any extra ones? You got any cool ones you can?
No, I don't have any cool earring. I don't have any cool jewelry. Yeah. Also, you want to know what happened?
What?
No, this is like not. I don't know. We're gonna talk about the
weekly
president.
update.
It's just dumb shit. But our current president signed the papers to release like the files on the JFK assassination and the Martin Luther King stuff,
which that's rad. Which
is something.
I'm an optimist, so I'm only gonna take the good.
Yeah,
anything good that happens, let's go.
If anybody is choosing, I don't give a shit which side. It's just
I don't pledge allegiance to any goddamn politician of my life.
Yeah. All these monkeys are far below me. You know what I mean?
Dummies.
But if they want to sign away papers that like, because as we were saying, like last week, all this
any progress in that way, dude. Yeah, let's go.
All this disclosure stuff. If you're like as an American want to do the Freedom of Information Act, it's just going to cost you like hundreds of $1,000s for the Xeroxing fees, right?
And like, is it a little bit of just like crowd service? Because like it's like 80 years old now.
Yeah. Well, at some point, I
but like I'll take it, dude. I'll take anything.
I feel like there was some initial things released at some point, but we're gonna see more. We'll see what it does. I'm fully expecting to just like get the documents and just see like black line after black line redacting everything.
That's like my full. Yeah, it's like this was lost. We only have this much.
Because that's the thing about all these.
I remember that happened with like the UFO.
Yeah. You can get them. They're disclosed, but it's like specific information in there.
We can like give you the paper, but like you can't read any of it. You can read like the title, what it's about, and then that's
just to blow your mind.
Like there's paper on this.
Yeah.
There's files on it, but like the real info, nah.
So that was gonna be released in 45 days from a few days ago. So hopefully by in like a month or two, we might have some more news on that.
Let's go, dude.
And do you got anything from? I got some more horror this week, but do you got anything?
Other than I just had 2 migraines this week.
Yeah, everybody.
Bullshit, dude.
Can we give a very Christian style prayer to Dawson to help heal him?
Yeah, please.
I don't know why I want to channel Yahweh specifically for this.
Whatever energy you can give me on that, because dude, what the hell? I don't know what that's about.
Dawson's
man.
Wasn't able to do much research, so
my brain's been broken all week.
Yeah, but that's okay.
I think I've just been getting downloads from the ether, and it's just overwhelming. I think the last week, all the Nazi talk and shit. I think just I was exhausted.
I found another white mustache hair after that episode.
Yeah.
And actually, did we even?
I'm all white.
Did we talk about what this?
I'm already gone, dude.
How do we know when you're getting sapped?
Yeah, we don't know, man.
Start to shrivel up.
I just get migraines. That's what it is. That's how we know.
I don't know if we mentioned what we're doing this episode yet. This is like an overflow episode. So the Nazi stuff. It didn't. Where we kind of took it. It ended in the Patreon kind of part 2.
Yeah, we got.
Now this is going to be kind of like a side order of stuff with a lot of other information in there about Antarctica, basically. Specifically some of their expeditions down there for different artifacts that we'll cover, and also just a lot of different. That just led me into all the other weird stuff about Antarctica. I have the classic Strider theory, the giant spider type stuff that I'll be talking about a little deeper into the episode once I got you in the hook.
Well, there's a whole rabbit hole of and like I like watched an iceberg video on like Antarctic cryptids.
Great.
I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't remember any of it.
We're gonna dig right to the apex.
But we'll get to it
with the Striders here.
The Striders, that's my favorite one. I think.
Yeah, and
good picks on that.
Yeah, and also just I have some specific diary entries from classic Admiral Byrd stuff where he's talking about UFOs and Hollow Earth entrances down there.
Those entities.
I have stuff from Spartan 1, who was an anonymous naval admiral that had some documentation about this stuff. He talks about some crazy stuff that actually for the Pumpkin Hill radio heads out there that stuck around last year for the alien when we were talking about all the different races of aliens, we talked about the blue avian stuff. There's some correlations between some of the things I was reading there, and we'll get into it when we get there. But it's all very exciting. That's just a little tease for what we're doing in the episode.
I know. I remember too, like a while back, there was like some like whistleblower that worked in like the deep underground bases in Antarctica and was talking about these weapons that like basically earthquake machines.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
shit like that.
I don't. Yeah.
I haven't really done much more research.
Well, we have stuff on the bases down there.
It's going to be
we
fucking.
can at least
it's all
assume that
tied in. Yeah.
And we know about the earthquake weapons, the liquefaction type weapons that would basically create mud floods. These things that kind of vibrate the entire Earth at a certain frequency and stuff just kind of sinks into
things
it.
we couldn't even imagine.
Makes the Earth into quicksand, right? Just for force of it. But before we dig into all that, Dawson, I heard it was Matthew Lillard's birthday soon. I feel like I said that earlier this year.
Damn. Wait, who's Matthew Lillard?
Shaggy.
Oh yeah,
Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and everything. Yeah, I just sat here. I was like, I want to meet this man. He goes to a lot of horror conventions. Dude, I swear we talked about this. Is it his birthday? Did I just read this?
I feel like we talked about this.
I was researching more Antarctica stuff and not so much Matthew Lillard birthday stuff. But hey, just a shout out to him either way.
Shout out to him. Best Shaggy.
Just best like horror. He's a horror icon.
Yeah, he's in Scream too, right?
He's in everything. He's in like everything, basically. But yeah, Scream basically. But everything. I mean, he's been around for our whole lives, right? Since we were younger. He's in
what?
Like 50.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I don't know. I'm not a man.
No, it's not. No.
Anyway, we go to enough conventions where I think that we will be able to shake hands with him at some point. I would love for that to happen.
I'll dap him up.
I'll dap Shaggy up.
Give him like a.
I saw Nosferatu.
Dude, how's that?
Okay, I know I'm late to the party. I talked about it maybe off air.
I think we talked. Yeah, we did.
Nosferatu. I guess light spoilers for those going into it. If you haven't seen it yet, you probably, spoilers also don't ruin this kind of movie. This is a 2 hour plus movie that is like all vibe and with like. Because this is
cinematic.
This is a redo of a 1921 movie, and they stay pretty faithful to like the pacing.
Who directed it?
That's where the.
That's all right. We don't need to look at that.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was like a director we know.
It definitely is someone that we know.
I'll look it up while you tell me about it.
Yeah, it's And before we talk about more, I also want to say we have a friend of the pod, Spencer Moonraker. He wants to come on and talk about Nosferatu sometime because he's a real movie buff.
Hell
He
yeah.
mentioned that. So
dude, shout out Spencer. What up, bro?
We'll do like a full breakdown with him sometime. Spence, if you're listening, what's up? But Moonraker, it's his nickname. But Nosferatu, pretty faithful to the original because I did watch that earlier this year. I mean, faithful in the way that it can be. There's tons more scenes. It's like there's lots of CGI stuff. He's like a full monster now. But the pacing is great.
Robert Eggers.
Robert Eggers. Well, nice. He's done other stuff, I'm sure. But the Willem Dafoe character in this movie, he's like, at one point we have a student that goes to his professor for help on this, and then that professor goes to his even older professor, and Willem Dafoe is the oldest professor, and his home is like full of books, right? And when they go in and like pat him on the back, literally like dust flies off him. Like he's like just been sitting there researching with like no other movement. But he just says the fucking line that I basically always say, like about how like, 40 years ago we were positive witches and werewolves and curses were real, and all of a sudden we get a little bit of the science and it's like none of that's real anymore.
Actually, we're so smart.
He's like, at one side,
that was fake. People were goofing.
Like I don't know the exact quote, but he's like, the light of your science has blinded you from true darkness.
Dude. Yeah,
and he's like, hell yeah, dude. He's like, he lists off. He's like alchemy, mystical philosophy, and the occult. He just goes. I love like that. I'm probably gonna use that as an intro at some point.
Yeah, get that in there.
I just loved seeing him. I just really vibed with this man, and he did a great job. The whole movie was good. I'm gonna go see Wolfman soon, which I heard is not what I expected to be, but is still good.
I want to see that too. It looks good.
Maybe
looks freaky. No, but Robert Eggers did The Witch from 2015, The Lighthouse.
Okay.
The Northman.
He's got basically,
so he's done good ones.
Prime.
Very like that kind of style of just like the whole time you're like
We're getting basically
madness.
The entire like old Universal cast of monsters plus some of the older monsters like Nosferatu. We got like
some nice like reimaginations of it all.
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit last week, so it's enough of that.
Good, man.
One more thing before we jump into the meat, and I will have more on this at some point, but my brother was telling me, and he messaged me a while ago, he found this like just strange website, this strange like facility up in like the mountains of Denver, which is like this private club, right? I don't even have the name of it here, but the website basically seemed like fake, and like you kind of apply to be like a cook up there, which I also was speculative about. But it just seemed like a weird, this is basically no information besides that there's just like it was just another weird unknown like building club. Like they have a bunch of land bought that you can't go on, and like just weird stuff like that. I will have like a semi full report on that, but my brother mentioned it again to me today, and I was like,
hell yeah,
just to put it in the mind, just so I remember.
Yeah, get it in there.
Well, let's get into the big show, shall we?
Yeah, let's rock.
Thanks for getting through that with us listeners. So basically, last week's episode of Nazi science and magic, and even like all like the torture that we had to kind of cover
dark,
to get to that stuff. We usually
the
don't
yucky
cover
stuff, man.
We usually don't get that like gross with it, but
guys
we
are
did.
real
We tried to
jerks,
stay light
man.
on it, but yeah, there was a lot to bite off there, and I ended up with a bunch of like overflow research that I kind of mentioned right here.
Basically, we learned the Nazis are just real bastards,
and magically inclined,
jerks.
trying to figure out stuff that is best left either in the dark or worked with in like a light sort of way.
They might have opened up a whole portal of just evil into the world.
They certainly. I mean, there's no way they didn't. Right?
I don't think they stopped. They definitely didn't stop either.
And I also mentioned psychotronics from like the Russian side of MK Ultra and their whole like countermeasures against our psychic warfare stuff. That will probably be its own episode, or at least half of an episode, because I really just have too much there on it. But I did this all to say that we are just going to kind of be in this like mud for a little bit longer. Again, by the end of this, you will be begging for the Bigfoot episode. I'm going to try to stay light again. Like this is a kind of all over. We got some fun stuff here. The Striders are a great thing for me to talk about, I guess. Yeah. But the Nazi stuff is still there. So where do we start? I guess Antarctica.
Yeah.
What? So I'm not gonna like. What are you thinking?
Mystery.
What's like the first thing you think of, like paranormal side of stuff? Because I have so many.
Mysterious, inner Earth portal.
Yeah.
Gateways, pyramids, Nazi bases.
Yeah. I asked people at the bar, like I was like, one word, Antarctica, paranormal stuff. What do you got? Yeah. I got stuff like pyramids, tunnels. It's a no-fly zone. It's a worldwide treaty there.
Yeah, you'll get killed if you just go there.
Someone had mentioned like it basically doesn't exist, like for all purposes, like to like someone like us, like
there's
really
like
doesn't
one
exist.
of the main islands you can go to, like as a tourist, is called Deception Island.
Mm-hmm. Which, what do you know?
And it just kind of looks like a fucking evil base.
Right.
It's like a circle string of island, basically. It's so weird.
It is weird. There's also stuff like the poles like shifting. There's like the magnetic stuff going on there. How like. You know how at one point it probably wasn't covered in ice. We have a lot. That's like all this stuff.
The frozen desert.
Someone, I think you mentioned Antarctica is the right wing of a giant dragon.
Yeah, that
South
too.
America is the other wing.
Yeah.
Just to like throw it all out on the line.
This is a world-sized dragon.
There's some anomalous gravitational stuff down there based on a possible crater that's like 5 times larger than the one that supposedly wiped out the dinosaurs. And that's like underneath like it's a 3 up to like, oh God, what is how deep is it? In some places, 3 miles thick, these ice sheets over Antarctica. So like, that's what it is. You're looking at this icy plain. It's like not even all flat, but you see those like flat places with the mountains. Underneath that, literally 1 to 2 to 3 miles beneath that, there is an actual terrain. There are whole river systems and lakes underneath there. That are all just we don't have eyes on them. We don't know what the hell's going on down there. So I'm going to tell you some possibilities.
It hides everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Hidden in ice.
Also the fact that like, you know, when we're talking about ancient civilizations, like we continue to cover here, like one of the prominent places would probably be like Antarctica before the poles, like right when it's not covered in ice. It's like that seems to be one of these like ancient civilization places. Some people even say it could just be Atlantis, and it's just like that's what happened. Like
how do we know?
Yeah, like you know the flood happens, it gets covered in water, or like it gets sunk into the earth and it gets frozen over. Right? I don't know. 3 miles thick though. Like even it was like Mount Fuji. Like is underneath it. A lot of like just full on. Like I saw a picture that was like it was like still underneath a whole bunch of it. So you could just have
3
so
miles
much,
is what? I mean, that's like 15,000 feet, at least. I mean, really, Denver is mile high. And that's 5,280 times that by 3. That's like 1,600 feet.
It's nuts.
That's taller than like the tallest peak in the U.S.
And that is and that's also like
it's crazy.
Yeah, when you look at like how far off things are, like how things are like distance from like the Earth as a whole. Like sometimes it's like because Everest, although it's the highest mountain, it's not actually the highest like up there. Or maybe that's that. Maybe I have that backwards. Like Everest is the tallest, but not like the like longest or whatever because it's like higher in the atmosphere. So like 3 miles, but I think it's like lower, and also it's like frozen deeper into the whatever. But that's just to say like there's a lot of stuff hidden down there. Let me just get right into it with one of these things.
Let's go. What do we got? What's the first one?
I have the Spartan 1 testimony.
Yeah. Okay. I love this one.
Was Actually, some of this he was actually appeared on Ancient Aliens for a while with his voice all augmented, and because he wanted to be anonymous, right? But he's a first lieutenant commander of naval operations, and this was during a quote unquote research and reconnaissance mission that was kind of off the books during August of 2003. That's 2003.
Nice.
Spartan 1 allegedly. I'm gonna stop using that word right now. A former U.S. Navy SEAL. Had been sent to Antarctica as part of a classified military operation. The details of the mission's purpose were unclear, but are described as relating to investigating unusual activity beneath the ice. Once he's on the ice, right, and he's with his team, he described finding an entrance to an underground structure hidden underneath the thing. He said some of them were like maybe about 18 to 30 feet above the ice coming out of it, and you could tell that the structure was like just pushing way below
Goes below, yeah.
The door was 18 feet to 30 feet tall.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Classic huge door thing we talk about. And he says when they got up to it, though, there was no resistance to opening it. He could take one finger and just press it open, which we see a lot of in like alien tech.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. This is some like very
high advanced.
Yeah, whether it's some sort of, I mean, if this is like human tech, this is the same technology that they would use to like move the pyramid, like build the pyramid. It's like It's like sound resonance tech possibly, or a way to move this huge object without resistance. It's really hard to even comprehend, right? If it was an earthly thing, right?
Almost magic.
Yeah,
it's like how it would seem.
Opening
to us.
that, it just wouldn't be possible, right?
Yeah,
but here we are.
Anomalies.
He enters the structure, and Spartan 1 encounters a corridor of glowing greenish light.
Yeah.
Okay. Greenish light appears on tons of not only alien extraterrestrial type subjects, but also with inner Earth stuff. I know,
because it's like a greenish light, but it's not coming from like a source.
It's just resonating from around the room, right?
What is that? The hell?
For our Patreon subscribers, the Green Children of Wool Pitch that we covered as I believe our first Patreon exclusive is a case of two kids that are found in a field, basically in the middle of nowhere, and they describe coming from a cave that inside it is this like world of twilight jinx, and they have like green skin, and like the light they said is like an ambient greenish color. We also see this kind of ambient light in stuff with the blue avian, like these very high tech.
That's like inner Earth stuff too.
Yeah,
it's like
and that's
the
other side of it is that like the lighting, this lighting for inner Earth, this like green lighting, I guess is the same stuff that would maybe help give you like the same like UVs from, I don't know. There's a reason for it. I see in a lot of different stories, but it is like bizarre to just encounter this right here again. It seems like,
well, it reminds me too of like these like underground like structures that have been found. Like it's like almost like an ant colony, but it's like for humans. And there's no like evidence of like fire, and even in like the pyramids, these tunnels, there's like no one was going in there with torches. It's like, how do they build that then? How do they make these hieroglyphs everywhere? If
not only
nowhere
torches,
for torches,
not only fire for light, but warmth. There also seems to be there's like specific patches in Antarctica that are just strangely warm. All these underground passages. He said it was -40 outside. When he goes inside, it's like an ambient. It's like 68, 70 degrees. Yeah. Like immediately, just get in there.
Room temp.
That's again what you see with this underground stuff. Some sort of regulation. Some sort of either some sort of like chemical regulation. Whatever this thing is. Yeah, this like.
Energetic, just different vibration, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, if it is like
it's part of the mystery,
like vibration tech to like move stuff, it's like you could vibrate something at a certain.
You're gonna like create like a light and
from it, right?
heat. Yeah.
He also said that the walls were adorned with mysterious hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
We've had similar stories of this.
They're like
already.
Egyptian type.
Egyptian kind of, but they were unfamiliar. He said they were unfamiliar to any known ancient human language.
Yeah. So. What?
Yeah, so they
so
this is where he then goes on to talk about like possible ancient advanced civilizations or like ET origin. He talks about these structures being buried for possibly thousands of years and like either just getting uncovered by like even like Nazi expeditions and stuff prior. And he does even mention like inside of it there was some sort of technology that just seemed like beyond. Like he doesn't even mention, he doesn't say it's like a weapon or like some other source.
Yeah.
He just says it's like they could tell it was tech.
Yeah,
but it's like
what even...
this is not anything that we could ever. What is this thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're giving a fucking a laptop to a monkey. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck do I do with this?"
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't work.
Like, I know this is something. There's something with this, but I don't know what it does.
Let me find my notes on the specific.
I've heard that story though. I didn't know it was Spartan 1, but yeah, it's like just bizarre shit.
Yeah.
I've heard like other accounts of that too, where it's like these people get like they're working in like the CIA, kind of doing like desk job bullshit, and then all of a sudden they get like approached, like, "Hey, you want to work in this?" And they're like, "Oh, sure." And they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna work with like reptilians and like grays," and they're like, "Oh yeah, good joke." And then they like go down in this like underground base, and all of a sudden they're like interacting with these things, and they're working with them, and it's
like, well, if you say anything, we're deleting your whole family.
What? Yeah, it's like, well, all right, okay,
yeah. So I have a lot more stories. We're gonna get into the Admiral Byrd story next. That's a very famous one from the 40s. Another in some sort of armed forces. I don't know what exactly. Another high-ranking officer, I believe, though. Tons of stuff on that.
Admiral.
We're gonna Admiral Byrd.
Yeah,
as he's called. We're gonna get into that right after this break. This is Pumpkin Hill Radio. See you in a sec.
Located along the Maine coast, Acadia is a place unlike any other. During the day, beautiful scenery and idyllic landscapes offer an experience that makes this little corner of the U.S. resemble paradise. Tourists flock from around the world to take in the sights and sounds the park has to offer. Little do they know that once the sun goes down, the land, forests, and sea undergo a transformation. Welcome to Acadia After Dark, where the shadows of Maine come alive with tales of mystery, history, and the supernatural. Join your host, Reverend Redbeard, as we explore the hidden corners of this enchanting landscape, uncovering the legends and lore that haunt its woods, coasts, and skies. From ghost stories and cryptid sightings to forgotten histories and eerie encounters, Acadia After Dark is your guide to the darkness that inhabits these lands. Keep your lanterns lit, and stay safe out there, hikers. Now available on YouTube and Spotify.
All right, and we're back with Pumpkin Hill Radio. Break. Who knows how long that was for y'all? Probably not that long, though. What's going on? We just got a nice reset. We're going to talk about Admiral Byrd, doing our little Antarctica study here. First story about Spartan 1. Very interesting. That green light stuff is still, like, mesmerizing to me. It does just show up in, like, every account that I've, like, not every, but very many accounts from different sources about, like...
some sort of weird green, blue...
as far as
ambient light.
Yeah, as far as like underground tunnel stuff. I don't know. Just hey, if you're ever like out there caving, listeners, make sure to look for green light.
Yeah, if you find a green light.
Yeah. So I just have this extended flight log from Admiral Byrd from February 19th, 1947.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is all in military time. 0600 hours, engine functioning normally. All preparations complete for our reconnaissance flight. Weather reports show favorable conditions for flight. 0800 hours, taking off from base. Visibility is excellent. 9:15, both magnetic and gyroscopic compasses beginning to gyrate and wobble. We are unable to hold our heading by instrumentation. Taking bearing with the sun compass, yet all seems well as we are on course. So right now it even seems like the systems are like he just used like an old style like sun compass thing because there's like some weird stuff going on. At 10, we are picking up speed abnormally. The controls are responding very sluggishly. Radio control, please take note of excessive magnetic disturbance affecting our instruments. 10:15. Okay. I announce radio silence from this point forward except for emergency transmissions. 10:30. The landscape below is different from anything we have seen. The ice and snow is disappearing with each passing moment. The terrain appears more barren, like a brown-gray desert.
Okay. That doesn't sound like what I'm told about Antarctica.
Yeah, and after this we will get into some old maps and stuff that show Antarctica without ice. But it's just so weird. And like we said, it's like, for all real purposes, Antarctica is like not a place that you can really get to. Or like, they'll take you to parts of it.
Deception
right.
Island. Or
Yeah, they'll
Rothschild Island.
Yeah, they'll take you to parts of it, right? Or some kind of like
I don't know how much you want to trust that, but
yeah, some old it's just not great stuff. I wouldn't. You can try to be like a researcher and go down there, but again, I think you were only allowed to go to certain points.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a limited hangout, I think they say.
10:45. Air temperature indicators show significant increase in temperature. This is impossible. The needle is showing 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Continuing our heading while observing the terrain.
It's crazy.
11:15. The instruments are now behaving normally. However, what we are seeing is also impossible. There is green vegetation below. Yeah. There are forests on the mountainside. Our navigation instruments indicate we are still on course, yet landscape we observe cannot be reconciled with our position. 11:30. In the valley below, we notice what appears to be animals. Through the slight haze, they appear to be similar to mammoth. This is incredible.
Okay.
It's like it seems like a valley of like untouched fucking ice age monsters.
Land before time.
11:45. We are making a sweep back over the valley to make a better observation. The animals seem to scatter into the trees. I am making a detailed note of this. Navigation instruments still fine, yet we know not where we are. Again, this is an admiral, like very well recognized.
Yeah.
He did tons of interviews after this. Never changed his stories on this. This is something he saw. Like
pretty no nonsense
to his eyes,
guy.
Whatever the case is, this has happened to him. Whether this was all some kind of like, I don't know, like
whatever it is.
Yes,
man.
yeah, we can have more discussion when I'm done. But this is just like I'm just saying, like these are extraordinary things to be reading from just like a high-ranking professional. 12. We have spotted what appears to be a habitation ahead. It appears to be a city, but this is impossible, yet there it is. 12:30. Redacted section in most... redacted section. This is like... What I have done here is actually grabbed like as many... There's a few different versions, quote unquote, of this diary entry going on. They're all basically the same, but I kind of grabbed the most complete version. So, and this is still all redacted. 12:45. We are returning to base. The observations are beyond explanation. I must get word to redacted.
So who's that?
There's also a debriefing statement that so that's like basically the journey, right? This is a journal that this is like bizarre. This is like an account he wrote. It's not like extremely detailed. It's just like, I mean, he gets into more stuff, but as far as what the actual like at the time what he was writing, because he was also like trying to observe it and like fly the fucker.
So basically, yeah, he's flying over Antarctica, discovers this like bizarre mystery land.
Yeah. Which, so here's a debriefing statement that was from March of the same year, 1947. He said, the most disturbing encounter occurred approximately 27 flight hours into the expedition. My crew and I observed aircraft that defied all known principles of aeronautics. They appeared without warning and surrounded our aircraft. They were disc-shaped, metallic in appearance, and moved in ways that should be impossible.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
He said impossible so many. He's just getting his mind blown, which for good reason.
I'm seeing shit don't make sense.
So
heard that.
Now this is saying not only is this like a land before time, basically, but also there's like UAP presence here.
Yeah. Some sort of advanced technology.
Dig into that too.
A city.
But he wasn't done there. He said, these craft seem to emerge from the very air itself, demonstrating speed and maneuverability that made our most advanced aircraft appear primitive in comparison. They maintained perfect formation around us for roughly 15 minutes before disappearing as suddenly as they appeared. I must say clearly and urgently that these vehicles demonstrate technology far beyond anything currently known to us. They appear to operate under intelligent control, yet show no visible means of propulsion. Furthermore, the discoveries made concerning the land mass beyond the pole cannot be revealed to the public. Redacted section.
Damn.
The reality of what we encountered threatens to destabilize our entire understanding of redacted. I strongly recommend immediate action, redacted, before others make similar discoveries.
Okay.
So, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what did he see?
Tons
what is
of
this?
Extremely bold claims there.
The redacted is like, because it's rated like the best parts. You know, whatever he's talking about is awesome.
Yeah. And this is like, so there's like tons of controversy on this, obviously.
Yeah.
But I also just like believe it, I guess. There's a part of, I mean, there's something happened to him. And like, this is where it's like, okay.
He witnessed something.
He if you want to like go, if we want to keep Antarctica icy and say there's not any kind of like land down there at all, what I would say is maybe, okay, he's seen these UFOs, these aircrafts, whatever these things in the air around him, maintaining this perfect formation, and like maybe they are like hitting the whole ship with like some kind of psychic like resonance that is like making him see this, or like something
revealing
like,
something,
or like showing, or like maybe
or
he's
he
like
went
seeing
through some sort of like
time
shift
thing,
portal thing.
Maybe he like hit like a vortex like that, or just straight up like again like the UFO. If there's somebody that's like driving like if there's something like shooting him with like something that's just letting him. I say shooting is like a resonance that is like being put upon the whole ship, like projecting like a different time. Is it like unveiling? Is it like peeling back time? Are they actually back there? Yeah, I guess it almost does seem like maybe he hits like a time portal.
Yeah,
of some.
I've heard similar things. People flying through like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah,
they hit like this like they're like in a tube eventually, and then all of a sudden they're like seeing this like these other lands. Like shit doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
they lose time. Like whatever that even means.
Yeah, there's like a Twilight Zone episode that vaguely resembles this that I believe Rod Serling like took from that, where it's like a commercial air flight, but they basically hit a thing and they look out the windows, all of a sudden it's like dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah,
so it's not the exact same, but
similar
so again, like what are we looking at here? Is this? I guess it's like this is where it points to. Okay, this is 47. This is directly after like the defeat of like the Nazi party in that way. There's definitely still Nazis in Argentina, as we went over, and different places working in the U.S. government and governments around the world.
And there's theories of like Nazi military bases in Antarctica and all that.
Well,
too.
there
like,
was, if I can,
they were doing missions down there too, right?
Yes, there was Nazi expeditions down to, Antarctica. That was, and from 1938 to 1939. Deutsche Antarctic Expedition, or the German Antarctic Expedition, was led by Alfred Richter aboard the MS Schwabenland. There was, it's stated the purpose was to establish a whaling station and claim territory for the Nazis. The claimed territory was then named New Swabia, and so this is they used two different Dornier Doge 2 seaplanes for aerial surveys and took over 11,000 aerial photographs of the region, and they planted Nazi flags all over the fucker. Antarctica is full. I'd be surprised if people got all of them.
Yeah.
The expedition was very well equipped for some reason for just like a simple whaling mission. Which also like that's a bad cover. Whaling, I don't know. I mean, I know that's like still popular in places, but it's like that's what you're going with. I just don't think that's realistic.
You're going to Antarctica for it. There's so many other places.
Some of the equipment and even the personnel, they just seemed like excessive to what they were doing. Again, it's just like, why are you bringing these people? Why are you bringing these instruments? They were bringing weapons and shit.
Yeah.
Like, why are you bringing a fucking
like
gun?
military, dude?
Why are you bringing a single gun? Like, I guess it's the Nazis, so that they're shitty, so they're probably gonna end up killing each other. But like, it's like
anyone that's down there.
Yeah.
But like, also, why is it like a military thing?
A lot of the expedition's records remain classified or like quote unquote missing.
Yeah.
And they also returned to Germany like ahead of schedule, which was just goofy. And then some of the crew members were then reassigned to highly classified projects afterwards. So they were immediately taken up to high ranks, high echelons of leadership, or at least like understanding,
into like secret,
not necessarily a leader, but you get into this part of where it's like you can't be a leader because you can't be known to the public.
Yeah.
Like you need to be able to retain this
going
information.
off the books on this one.
Again, that was 10 years before Admiral Byrd went there. This is again at that same time. There was Operation Highjump. That was from 46 to 47. That was a very large U.S. military expedition to Antarctica, and it was again like very large and said to be for a peaceful scientific mission. But again, there's like guns involved and stuff. This is where Admiral Byrd comes in. Admiral Byrd comes in. Excuse me. He's a part of this like quote unquote peaceful project. Like, okay, Admiral Byrd is going down there to set up like a military base. He has no reason to like somehow I guess make that shit. I don't know, but there's no like it just seems like it came out of the blue. He doesn't have like a history of it. Like there's not like it's not like he has like a bunch of like books written years prior that are like all this stuff, you know. And then before we get into the Striders, which is probably a good endpoint on this thing, because it's just like
that's the weird
nuts monsters and stuff. But I will if I can just find it here. I did take some notes on where is it? Let's see. Let me get.
Let's see some pics.
Oh, that's for the Striders stuff.
Oh yeah.
One sec here. I have some stuff on just the maps. Talk like old map stuff, like how old maps just depict things that seem like they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, because there's like the North Pole too has like some interesting old maps of like these other lands and like kingdoms and shit. And it's like, well, okay, maybe that's just wrong, but also when like enough people are like that, it's like, are they wrong? If there's enough different ones from different cultures, it's like, are they just wrong, or is there something going on? What happened? Why did it all turn to ice?
Okay. Basically,
what's the deal?
Yeah, there's cross collaboration and like cross pollination on like maps, right? They specifically try to gather from other sources so they like have it down. These cartographers, especially in the old, when they don't have satellites and all this stuff, which
which even with that, there's like. I mean, we've probably all seen the like Google Earth pictures of like weird anomalies and stuff in Antarctica.
Yeah, they're not showing us everything.
Yeah.
I got two different computers on me right now. Here's where I can speak on this a little bit. This is in 1929. Gustav Desmond is he's cataloging items in Istanbul, right?
Okay.
And he comes across, he finds this paper. Parchment, this thing with a map on it.
Yeah.
That apparently was found in Antarctica. And like they just found this map, okay? And he's like, this is actually gazelle skin that it's printed on. There's a map on this like old gazelle skin that's like taken from Antarctica.
Why is that why is it there?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're all wondering. It was then redrawn and signed by the Turkish cartographer. No, excuse me, that's a different one. That's the second map we're going to talk about. So there's a map on it. Basically, this same guy then goes on to hypothesize about like ancient civilizations, like pre-Adamic civilizations that would have some sort of at least spiritual technology that would vastly outdo us. You know, so somebody that could map the sea. And again, this map.
Yeah.
It shows Antarctica.
Yep.
300 years. Antarctica was officially discovered in like the 1800s.
Yeah.
Like I think it was like 17 something was when it was picked up, right? But so this map has Antarctica on it. It shows Antarctica with like a shoreline.
Weird. Because usually it's just ice. It's like a wall.
Yes,
of ice,
it shows
right?
Antarctica with a shoreline. And again, this would have been like found. Right, and this is a guy that's just cataloging it, right?
Yeah.
But this is something that was apparently found, and then, but it seems like if it was from like an old civilization, then it was like just like from before. And excuse me on that, I actually don't know if they found it in Antarctica. I don't think they did. I think it was found somewhere else, but it was like depicting this, right?
But it's an old map that like
that's
has
my bad
like
for not having that.
Antarctica on it. Yeah.
Next we have this is like that famous one, Pierre Ricci map. This is the map that was This was drawn and signed by Turkish cartographer and admiral, and an admiral in the Turkish Navy. His name was Pierre Ricci. This was in 1513. Again, this is 300 years before Antarctica is found. And again, there's Antarctica on it. And not only that, but this is a map that was cross-referenced by many other maps with many other cartographers at the time. And different, like Portuguese, Arabia, these from everywhere. Like these cartographers are collaborating to make this thing. And yet it shows up there, right? Yeah, 300 years before it's shown. And yes, again, with a coastline, right? It's this prehistory civilization that knew how to navigate the seas, that like had this technology, this Lemuria, this Atlantis type thing.
Yeah.
Lastly, for maps, we have something called the Bosch map. Yeah. This is from Philip Bosch. I didn't write the name right. 1737. He's a French cartographer again, and that also depicts Antarctica, fucking free of ice. And the thing about this one is there's actually 2 versions of the map. At some point, it came out. There's one that seemed to come out in 1731, I believe, and then there was another copy that came out in like 1739, and one of them doesn't have Antarctica on it, and I believe it's the later one that came out that does not is no longer shown in. And so people will say this was like falsified. It was just like thrown in there. You know, somebody was just like drawing random stuff,
making stuff up.
Just talking about weird maps though, like what the hell is all that? You also see there's also old maps where it shows not only Antarctica having like no ice on it, but also shows like lakes specifically in it, river systems, which are there. They're just underneath 3 miles of ice. Yeah.
So what?
So what?
So
yeah, I don't know. Like, and that's again like, so I guess we can take it to where.
So Antarctica is basically the perfect place for like hiding, for like hidden artifacts.
That's the other thing is like
hidden civilization.
Either like, and I don't know if we'll actually get into the Nazi artifacts on this episode, but like, but Hitler was actually even more. He was insane about trying to find these like religious artifacts from like all these different religions, right? And it's like now they're doing these expeditions down to Antarctica. They're even coming back early because it's like, what did they find? You know, Admiral this guy in 2003, he goes there and it's like
this like
there's
redacted
a doorway,
stuff.
there's this weird stuff. Yeah, like what
do they find? What do they find? What are they hiding?
Mm-hmm.
What do they find and they can't tell anybody about?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Like, do they find like UAP information there? Is there like a hole to like the hollow earth? You see pictures where it's like there's just a gap there, or like just
it's like blacked out, blurred out, like.
And this is the stuff that also gets like Google bombed, where there's thousands of like fake pictures of like structures coming out of the ice in Antarctica. But there's also some real ones. It seems like
there's definitely some like pyramid looking things.
That's the other thing is like not even to touch on like some the pyramid sort of that has been like to death said by science, like mainstream scientists say to death that like it's just a natural geography,
it's just a mountain.
Like it's just the way that it got pushed up. I don't know, maybe not though. Like
that's how a lot of pyramids were seen as like, oh, it's just like a mountain.
Yes, because a lot of especially South American pyramids actually were covered up on purpose in like dirt, and then like you can see they were nowadays you can scan underneath the tree like the canopies and this stuff. They're seeing so many more of these like step style pyramids, and they just pack dirt on it and then trees and shit grow on it. Like they're like it's fully hiding them
over it. Yeah,
we know they did that. So it's like to say that the structure that now looks sort of natural but also very pyramidic couldn't have been made and then covered up in the same and the same for even the same reasons why it could have been part of the same larger culture at the time.
Yeah, something that like it's ruled the earth basically.
And that's not even to touch on like ice wall shit, guys. And like there's a way where we could have done this where we went full like flat earth crazy insane person on your ass, and I'm not gonna do that to anybody because I'm not really in that boat. But there's like
that's just another tangent to go down.
And like as far as like ice wall stuff, or even just like the part that I will like agree on is like either hidden structures or land masses on Earth. Yeah. They wouldn't have to be behind a fucking ice wall, but it's like, again,
the lands beyond.
How many people are like getting in a boat and just sailing into the ocean and be like, I'm going to find something. It's like, no, you trust that what is on the map is what's on the map. And that we know for security reasons, there's specific islands that the U.S. will not show on maps because it's like that's where they keep some specific bases and stuff. It's like they have control on that. Like they can talk to Google and be like, hey, can you just erase that little bit right there?
It's classified. Yeah. This is redacted. Mm-hmm. This landmass, that's redacted.
And then, getting a little more further from like Antarctica, but just ancient land masses. Like the world was shaped differently back then. Like throughout history, like as it goes, like as through thousands and millions of years pass, things just change.
Things move. The climates change.
There's like specific like hidden mountain ranges between like on the Hawaii side of like kind of out near Hawaii where it's like if you drained it a little bit you end up with like a whole continent. It's like what is this Lemuria got it's a little further, but it's just as far as losing continents, losing entire civilizations, it's like that shit happens. Especially if you talk about magnetic pole shifting, which is theorized to happen very fucking fast. It's like that's what people are like get scared about that shit.
Or if there's like when like volcanic eruptions, like a big enough happens, it just clouds the sky. It creates an ice age.
Yeah. But
comet
who's to say like the Earth wasn't tilted a little differently, and then like it shifts. Maybe part of this mass thing. Maybe it was done on purpose. Maybe it happened just naturally. Like it seems like sometimes it does that. Yeah. It's like is it all part of this flood myth? It all kind of happens at the same time. Like there are ways to hide entire civilizations. There are ways to bury.
I mean, things are just underground.
Yes.
There's so much that's just been underground, buried, and we're like still just discovering a lot of it, and it just pushes everything further and further back, as far as like how early we thought like humans were around.
Yeah, I mean, people like Graham Hancock. I got the book over there that Justin gave to me.
Yeah, dude.
Jason.
Yeah.
Jason. Excuse me. No. Oh, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
I can't remember who gave it to me.
Yeah.
But I got it from somebody, and it's he has a couple. Graham Hancock has a couple things on Netflix too. The ancient civilization stuff. Very interesting. I haven't even watched all of them because I kind of want to be able to like come to my own things before I watch that and see it. But it's
pretty interesting stuff though. It's very like, because we've like done like the like old world, like Tartaria and all that, and it's like surface. It's like your first step into that world basically. Like you watch that stuff and you're like, oh, okay, so there's definitely like some sort of like ancient, advanced, or at least even just ancient civilizations that have been like lost completely.
Yes.
And we're just kind of like just getting to the beginning of it all, and like we just have no idea what's in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Because like there was a time when like the Sahara Desert, which is all just sand dunes and sand, and like there's so little of it's been explored, but they found like whale bones and stuff, and there's like evidence that it was a jungle, it was a rich forest at some point.
Yeah, like
who knows what could have
America had the like Salt Lake City. That was an old ocean.
Yeah, that was when the ocean like receded.
Geography changes, and if the time frames don't make sense to you, it's like, well,
we're talking like 30,000, 60,000, 100,000 years ago.
Yeah, and like prior to that, it's like things can rise up and then extinct themselves without leaving a trace.
Oh,
I mean, or like there just wasn't the right conditions,
or the conditions just changed rapidly because of a comet or some other fucking natural disaster,
which is
pole
gonna
change.
Lead me into the Striders.
Let's get.
You made it this far. Just hold on with me. We're gonna talk about these things. Here's an image for y'all.
Yeah, let's get.
This is okay. That's just a bad one. Now, these are all the blurriest things ever.
Classic blurry photographic evidence.
Here's what a Strider might be.
So whatever this is.
So let's talk about the goddamn Striders.
Giant tick over here.
Now, this information I got from various sources, all like confidential, just all like it's all over the web, all over just like you know, just like passed down knowledge. Even everybody knows that so there are creatures in Antarctica, right? And they mostly are all fucking giant because of this. There's abyssal gigantism. There's also like Arctic gigantism, right? We're gonna talk about so everybody sees that thing. To the listener, it's just the blurriest possible picture of it's very far away, but it looks like
something with legs crawling around.
Yeah, weird multi-leg.
Maybe that's like a mammoth style thing. Who knows, man?
I'm talking about an apex predator of the ancient world.
Yeah,
this is a spider-like creature so large that it would hunt dinosaurs. This is a creature that burrowed and possibly eventually created some of the tunnels that some of these pre-Adamic civilizations would have used to migrate underground during these floods and things. Based on there's even just like burrowing spiders today. Like if we're looking at like any resemblance to anything, they don't really have to resemble spiders at all right now. But as the act of like digging to like survive, the act of creating large tunnels.
If you think too, just like if you're an alien species and you come to Earth, it's like you're living on the surface. What are you doing? You're not tunneling. You're just out in the open, just exposed to like all the shit flying through space that's gonna fucking crash into.
And I didn't even. Yeah, you're right. You're like, you guys are just come on, get in there, get in there. You're gonna get hurt.
Get down there. Get under there.
You got to be able to survive these extinctions,
tunnel.
Right?
Yeah, you guys got to start tunneling. What the hell?
So, and maybe this is like an alien. Maybe this is just like a super predator that just got lost to the history books. Because first off, we have like the fossils we do have are very small segments of much larger populations of animals. It's like the things that have to happen to make a fossil are so precise.
If there's 3 miles of ice over Antarctica too, it's like we can't get to them.
Well, any especially because this is where we're going to be like saying in these old dinosaur days, Antarctica was not frozen over. It was still part of a supercontinent, specifically the Gondwana supercontinent. This is literally, we're in the Cretaceous period right now. Is how far back we're going to just talk about how things can be there and then get erased. Okay.
Yeah.
It was much warmer and ice free, at least back then. Possibly some parts are still now. It sounds like if you get into any of those underground bases there, it's just pretty chill, pretty nice and warm, pretty good for you. These would have evolved from possibly marine arthropods, gradually adapting to like a semi-aquatic and then a fully terrestrial lifestyle. And then after that, even like a subterranean lifestyle. There are currently, like still to this day, giant sea spiders in the waters of Antarctica. Yeah. These things are enormous. I don't know if I have the exact stats here. I have them somewhere. They have, some of them can have like 8 to 10 legs as well, but they have their legs are so large and their bodies are so small in comparison that some of their organs are actually like in their legs. Like this is just weird creature that is they have like the actual, well, okay. So these, I'm just saying like the adaptation of things and like how even today we have a version of this thing. And if this was an apex creature or at least like a predator creature that was living in this lush version of Antarctica, like hunting on the land, fully outside of the water at this point, but huge, just like all insects were. But this thing would be ginormous, fucking huge,
terrifying.
It would be hunting these things, but then as different extensions happen, as meteors hit or stuff like that, if it already has the idea to be digging, maybe it's digging further in, maybe it's finding a home for itself,
going dormant,
starting to live down there, it's creating these tunnels again.
And like some of these things, if it's big enough, its lifespan's probably a lot bigger. They might just go down there and lie dormant until like Earth is like habitable enough again.
The spiders, they have even like the current ones that we like, the real, like the ones that are like still like size of dinner plates, bigger than that. They have, I mean, they're like, if you had like from arm to arm, they're like as big as a human, right? They're like 4 fucking feet, like, you know, small human. But even the ones that are like you can just see them, right? They these things don't fossilize. They don't leave traces very often. Like they don't fossilize. If there was a larger version of it, you wouldn't be able to.
And like I feel like we've talked about it before too, where it's like for something to fossilize like that, the conditions have to be so right for that. It has to like die in just the right spot and just the right climate for it to like get buried into like mud and shit, and then like preserved in that.
And even then, it's like then all like everything freezes over, or the ice comes and it just grinds everything down,
just completely decimates.
You just can't find anything. There's still these like subterranean lakes and things in there where it's like maybe it's still down there at the bottom, and it just rarely comes up because this is actually, it would be, being a predator would have like very large spans of territory, right? Yeah. And so like,
especially that size,
it's like there's parts of Antarctica that researchers are told that you just cannot go. Yeah. And that's like possibly why is like it's just part of the territory. Like you're gonna draw it out, it's gonna fuck with you.
Awaken it.
It's why like on some of these research missions when they go through some of these territories to find things, they have like armed guards and stuff on them to be safe. By the way, I didn't say the exact size of these striders. I was seeing reports from like up to like 30 to 40 feet, like 7 stories.
A fucking building.
Yeah, the size of a building.
So this is just like a building sized thing crawling around. Or maybe it's just frozen. Who knows what is going on with this? Again, I love the blurry photographic evidence.
Because this specific picture back here, it was taken from us an Antarctic expedition that was not on the record, obviously. But all these armed guards were there with them doing this research, picking up samples of things. But they do, and this is like, it's said that the U.S. military would like possibly have some of these things in captivity. Where they're like testing it, they're like possibly even learning from it, just like using it as like maybe like could you reveal it as like some kind of weapon. You know, you let one of these things loose, you could like figure out how to breed these things.
That's a whole other thing too, is like these like genetically modified like organisms. for like war purposes.
Like taking what this thing already can do and maybe just like souping it up. Not only would the U.S. have some, it would likely be that the Nazis would have maybe had one.
Were definitely like in the business of creating superhuman soldiers,
and a few other like large China would probably has a few.
Oh, you got to believe they're trying at least.
These. And like again, okay, so with this, like in Antarctica, there's the evolution of all animals there. The metabolism is so slow and it's so precise that like you can live. It's just like you get what you need to survive, and it doesn't have to be much down there. You can be a pretty large creature.
If it's a spider-like thing too, spiders don't need to eat much at all.
So what you're saying about like maybe not eating that often, maybe like hibernating or something. You're right. Like their lifespan could be much different. If we're talking, I mean, there's like that jellyfish that doesn't die. Like there are some creatures that apparently, if it could just if it's like some kind of spider that could like shed its skin, like shed its thing, and like it's
just molts,
its carapace, whatever it's called, and then it molts, and it just like becomes anew like just that, getting like bigger every time,
constantly evolving, constantly growing.
So just another,
and then if it like doesn't eat, it just doesn't need to molt, so it just is, you know.
Yeah, it's just like frozen, basically, just like heartbeat by like once a fucking day.
This goes
okay. So now there's an image of 2 very blurry hard drives that were said to be recovered from this mission, right? And then totally unoperable. So the person had tried to, let's see if I can get it up here, open them up, and this is apparently a picture of like the opened up hard drive. It's just at the circuitry, right? And then as far as they got was this is just a picture of like a computer with a password protected icon. So that's as far as they got.
Yeah.
So like actually this thread that I was on years ago about it, by the way, years ago, when I first saw some of this stuff, was like asking people if they could help like recover it and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I think from there, I think this person probably got right, or like whatever, you know, if any of this,
or just hidden. Completely just like thrown into oblivion. They're probably in like some sort of psych ward, mental hospital. Just who knows, man.
Just to,
or they're just in the tunnel.
As far as like, yeah. So I would think that it would be rare to see them up like on the surface, but that's why some of those precautions are there, right? I do have some just like myths from a lot of different cultures that were like on that like southern seas that would be possibly pointing towards it. There's the indigenous peoples of Tierra del Fuego. They have stories of the walkers of the deep, and this was beings that moved across the ocean floor on impossibly long legs. This was passed down through generations of people who lived closest to Antarctica, basically along those like South American tip, basically. Describes the creature bears striking resemblance to a giant sea spider, and
giant sea spider
emerged. They were legends of them. These things emerging from the mist in the southernmost channels where glaciers meet the sea. There's the Aboriginal people of southern Australia maintain traditions about old spirits of the cold southern waters. These creatures that existed since the dream time, walking the seafloor on legs like moving kelp.
The dream time.
The dream. We're getting deep at the end here. I mean, Japanese folklore speaks of the umubozo, spirits of the deep ocean that could take various forms. These specific would be the takaashi. Literally translates to tall legs, being said to walk the coldest depths of the ocean. They describe creatures of impossibly long legs moving through the darkness. And
thanks, man.
Korean coastal communities maintain legends of the Gyeobokseon, or multiple-legged walker of the deep, beings that were said to emerge from the coldest waters, interwoven with tales of dragons and other mythical creatures, which is just to say like ancient type monsters, basically, that could have possibly existed. Ancient Greek sailors reported this is recorded encounters with the Macropoda, the long-legged ones in the coldest reaches of the known world. Again, like this is all the same thing. I'm
coldest
saying.
Regions.
Like I know that like that Strider stuff I just said might have gotten nuts for a second, but here we are in the oldest folklore and religions of all the oldest of all these ancient cultures from around the world, especially the ones that were closest to it, right?
Yeah.
The coastal people of South Africa, particularly with communities in the ancient connections to this colder southern waters, maintain traditions about long walkers, beings that inhabited the coldest currents that moved up from the south.
So there's something.
Yeah.
There's definitely was at some time something that people were like, we need
something. And I don't think that they were referring to like the regular giant spiders we already had down there. They seem to be more.
I'm imagining something huge in these cold oceans that's like, like so big they're like walking on top of the water.
Striders.
Yeah, like they'd be able to see them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, like.
Or coming up, like I imagine, like it probably has to hunt in the water at some point, right? I'm sure some of its underground caverns can lead right out to like an ocean, like an underground.
Oh,
like an ocean.
Probably they get in and out
under the ocean cave. Like those caverns that are there probably could like have could fully survive down there, right?
Oh, definitely.
I have even more. I can just save them, or not even save them, but just like, I think that everybody gets the pictures. I literally have stuff from every place I could find that was along those waters that has a specifically like cold temperature, long-legged thing that some have like reverence for, some would just like, but it seems like it would like what is this?
Yeah.
Now this is basically one of my more like
referencing?
controversial things, right? Is these like striders I talk about because it's like so out there, right?
Yeah.
But that was just like a little bit. I'm sure I'll bring.
Well,
more
it's
to
like
the
something
table
that
at some
like
point.
since we're talking about it, even it's like it's these myths from like ancients, but it's still like a myth now. Like people are still reporting like this weird thing that's out there.
It's another one of those 10,000-year-old stories, or since the Cretaceous times, possibly. But like really, and like like animals from that time haven't changed. Crocodiles, alligators, or whatever. Like one
sharks.
Of those, they were older
whales.
than
They've always been there.
I don't know if whales have. Didn't they evolve from wolves?
Maybe killer whales probably.
Yeah, all of them. I'm pretty sure. You've seen that evolutionary chart of them like coming out of the water, then like going back in. But yeah, there's the there's those wolves that hunt only in the sea off like the north coast of Canada or something, and they're like basically going back, and they're gonna like become new whales in like 1 million years, 2 million years.
Damn.
Yeah. Just keep your eye on. So keep your eyes on that.
I mean, that's like whales and like dolphins, like killer like orcas and like dolphins are like very dog and wolf like the way they like hunt in packs.
They have they even have the little like bones where their legs used to be.
Yeah.
Which I have a whole other thing we'll get into sometime about how dolphins are aliens.
Oh,
that was later on because this whole Strider part was actually from an old Red Temple tape.
Yeah.
And I think I covered most of that more gracefully than I did on that, so I'm not even going to try to show anybody. But if you're really curious, check the farthest reaches of the TikTok, Pumpkin Hill Radio. Well, with that being said,
we'll get a whole sea monster thing going.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun ideas for episodes that I want to cover. Definitely some cool sea monster stuff. We can get crazy with that. I am like that's almost where this was leading. But that's
Striders,
not what I want.
man.
Yeah. I want to do a whole like apothecary thing with the Philosopher's Stone, all that kind of stuff, because there's some truths to that in ancient texts I would love to explore. I got a whole list of stuff. Get ready for that throughout the year. We got new cool stuff coming out. Obviously, it's the year of Bigfoot 2025, so do not forget that.
Yeah, we're going to revisit Bigfoot soon.
Yep. We're going to get a February episode out.
I think this summer we're planning a camping trip, and that's like a Bigfoot area.
I would love to record an episode while we're out there.
Yeah.
Or at least like parts of it. Yeah, just little bits. We can go out there and hunt. Yeah, we're going into the deep woods of Colorado. In the Rockies.
And this like
up
lake.
in the Rockies.
A really like magical lake.
We're going to a lake on top of the Rockies with
fairy portals. There's like
Oh, I remember. Well,
it's like haunted too.
When
like
I came back from there originally, I remember I talked about that witch tree I saw for a while. So there's like definitely some. Yeah, we'll get into
a lot of stories about that area.
This has been a fun little dig into all this stuff, though. I think it was a little more light than last week's episode.
Needed it.
You know,
needed to get away from the Nazi magic shit.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's gonna come through a little more just to have like random bits of research from all that. But it will, I want to keep on topic as much as possible.
Never ending
stuff. Again, we could revisit this 20 more times, and at some point we will. But for now, I think that's been great. I'd love to do a whole thing on like ancient maps. We have all kind of like so many maps that depict locations that are not apparently real, but they're like on cross corroborated.
I want to get in
maps.
like the North Pole ones too.
Yeah. You do it all.
That gets in some weird shit too.
Do it all.
We'll get some pictures. We'll do that. But.
Yeah. with that being said, thanks everybody for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope this was a little bit of fun. There's always more. If you want to talk about something else specifically from Antarctica, just email us again. pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com.
If you have stories that like we didn't touch something and you know about it.
Yeah, there's so many more I saw. We only got.
I want to be educated on.
Try to keep this somewhere around an hour at least. You know.
Yeah.
But there's always there's so much because we didn't dig into the Hollow Earth stuff like at all, and there's the entrances there really. Yeah. That's curious.
That's Admiral Byrd. Because that's like another thing about like North Pole too is there's like an entrance there or an exit or something.
Well, that's what
Similar thing. Admiral Byrd went up there too, and like
okay.
He had a
we'll do a
mission
full
there
Bird
too.
app.
Yeah, we'll go.
We'll do a full Bird app.
Eddie Birdie.
Yeah, check out the Patreon. We're growing the content there. This month's Patreon episode is actually free to everybody. If you're paying, you still got your bonus Alien Invasion stuff, so you're still getting stuff every month. That's behind the paywall. Don't worry, your money's well worth it. But join up there to hear just even more on this kind of stuff and more wildness, and also just I don't know, pay for some of it too. You can get it for $1 if you want for right now. Not for long, it's gonna turn into $5.
Get it while you can, please.
With that being said, check our socials. Check the links everywhere. Just go to pumpkinhillradio.com. It's actually just a redirect to our link tree. It was the easiest way to do it, and that's looking nice and proper. You can find us there. Dubby.gg.
Yeah. Code StarMother.
Code StarMother. 10% off at checkout. That's the energy powder that we took before doing the episode.
Yeah, we do it most of the time. It's
usually
great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, helps us fire through this.
It's beautiful. Keeps me fucking sane. I think.
Yeah. It definitely helps.
I'll lose my mind, I think.
I think that's basically it.
Yeah.
Check out the Etsy, pumpkinhillradio.com, or pumpkinhillradio.etsy.com. You can also find that from the link tree. Just I wrote a book that's on there. We have stickers, we have prints, some cool stuff there. And some cool stuff in the works with some of those short stories. And just a bunch of fucking cool stuff happening at Pumpkin Hill Radio.
We're working.
So we're always working. I'm glad that y'all are turning in. I'm seeing more, and I don't try to check the stats all the time, but I am seeing a lot more listeners lately. So what's up to everybody? A warm welcome to y'all. Welcome to the cult. And again, let us know what you want us to cover next. But until then, we got infinite amounts of stuff to do.
The research
never ends. This is just from one note over on my thing. You know how many notes I have right here from different things? We have so many.
Million, dude.
Yeah, I mean we got stuff to work through.
So much going on.
That being said, this has been Pumpkin Hill Radio. I'm Travis. That's Dawson.
Love you.
And,
I love you.
Good night, all.
Bye.